Hello all, my name is Krish Nayak and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, just some days back, I had actually uploaded a video on roadmap with the minimal skills to become a data analyst in 2022. And in this specific video, many people had asked me to upload the entire playlist from MySQL. So here you can see, please create a full playlist of MySQL, full playlist of MySQL. If you go and see both SQL and NoSQL, okay, and then again MySQL, SQL. So many people were had actually requested that. So considering this particular request, I am probably starting the entire SQL playlist, and we will try to do it. We'll try to implement, we'll try to learn completely from scratch. um, MySQL playlist can be very much important for data analysts, data scientists, because when you're working, one of the most important skills that I've actually told, you really need to be good with one SQL and NoSQL database, right? So if I take one example of SQL database, it can be MySQL. You can also learn SQL Server. Um, and with NoSQL, I'm trying to also plan for MongoDB videos. So let's see, it is up to you. You tell me that should I parallelly keep on uploading SQL and NoSQL videos? But I am actually starting with MySQL. Already I've created a playlist of MySQL playlist. The link will be given. The first tutorial that I've actually given over there is with respect to MySQL installation steps. This was a pretty older video, but just to give you a grasp here, I'm going to explain about it. We'll try to understand every day. Probably one video may be coming where we'll be picking around 4 to 5 different topics in the syllabus of MySQL. I've designed an amazing syllabus, and probably there are many topics which I will probably show it to you just after, not today's class but tomorrow's class at least, where I will be showing you that what all things we are basically going to cover. But let's start without wasting any time. First thing, please go to MySQL workbench download. So once you go over here, you will be able to see download MySQL workbench. Once you get this, please go ahead and just download it. Okay, this is the MySQL installer for Windows. For other machines also you will be getting it. Go and select the operating system, and based on that you will be able to download it. The entire steps is already given in this specific video. The playlist link will be given in the description. So once you do the entire installation, the next step is that I will just open my MySQL workbench. I'm not showing you the part of the entire installation because already I've created a video, because I don't want to waste your time also, because just by seeing a video you'll be able to see it. So one instance that I've already created with a specific database, here I have kept a password as admin. You also have to set up a password. Now first thing first, what are the things that we are going to learn over here? In this session, we are going to first of all learn about how to create databases, which is pretty much important, how to drop databases, how to create table, how to insert into table, and finally how to drop table. Again, guys, database will definitely play a very important role. As we go ahead, we'll make it more complex. We'll try to create triggers, procedures. We'll try to see how we can map from one table to the other table with the help of primary key, foreign key, and many more things are there. The entire syllabus, again, this is a surprise for you. I've created it, and tomorrow I will just show it to you. I've created it in a WordPad in an amazing way. So let's go ahead without wasting any time and start working on this kind of created database statements, right? But before I go ahead with respect to first of all, simple things that you really need to know. What all things you really need to know? First thing is that how to write comments. Okay. So here I am basically using a hashtag for a single line comment. Okay. Suppose if I have a single line comment, I'll say over here, hello, welcome to MySQL tutorials, right? So this is a single line comment where we'll probably use it. This is the query editor. You can write any kind of queries to retrieve data from the tables that are present inside the databases, okay? And remember, databases will be present in every organization, right? Inside that, you'll try to form as many as tables based on the entire schema that you're planning to create, and how one table is basically storing the data comparable to the other table. So there is also a concept called as uh, normalization in this, which I will also be discussing as we go ahead. Okay, so here is our single line comment. Okay, for multi-line, obviously you've seen this. So first of all, what I am actually going to do, I'm actually using a mechanical keyboard. I'm not practicing with the help of mechanical keyboard. So it is basically taking some time in order to, you know, so this kind of statements I can basically use for using a single line comment, any sorry for multi-line comment, and then probably we need to close it like this, right? So for the multi-line comment and for the single line comment, this is done. Let me show you right now. I'm inside a query editor. Let me show you like how many databases I already have over here. Now, in order to see that how many databases are already present by default, once you do the installation in of the MySQL workbench inside the local, if you want to execute this line, okay, show databases. Show databases is a query. In most of the different materials, you'll be seeing that we will probably write it in capital letter like this, show databases, right? This is also fine. You can also write it in small letters also to execute the query. I will just use shortcuts. Okay. One shortcut is that if I want to execute all the entire query, so I can use Control Shift Enter. Okay. So once I basically execute like this, Control Shift Enter, you will be able to see there are two important things. One is the result grid where you will be able to see the output. The second one over here is that what is the console output that you're basically getting. Are you getting any kind of errors? Has it been successfully executed? Everything, you'll be able to see this. So these two things are very much important to see whether your query is getting executed perfectly or not. Now this one shortcut that I've actually told you, that you have to basically use Control Shift Enter. The other way is that what I can do, I can select all these things. I can go to the query and execute all or selection, execute all or selection to test. So suppose if I go and execute this, so then also it gets executed. Suppose I just want to execute this single line. One way is that I can select it, I can go this and I can execute it. The other way is that I will just go and press after this line. Okay, after this line, I will just go and press Control Enter. Okay, then also it will get executed. Now this is important. Now the reason why I'm showing you all these things, because these are some basic things. When you are probably executing it, you will be facing like this. Okay guys, now what I am actually going to do over here is that let's use one database which I can definitely see over here. There are many databases that are available. Let me use a database called as world and let me see that what is the data that is present inside it. Okay, so what I am going to do, very easy, you know, I'll just say after saying it, I'm going to use the database used world. Okay, world is my database name. Okay, but you see that there is something like this kind of red points. Why it is basically coming is that because see, if I want to execute this, I can just select this and probably execute by using this statement. But most of the time what many people do, they execute line by line. Now over here, if I want to just execute this line, it will not be possible. See, if I use Control Enter, here you will be saying that I'm getting some error. You have an error in your SQL syntax. See, here you can see in the last line, you have error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to my SQL Server version. Now, why this error may be coming? Because if I want to execute this line, first of all, I have to close this particular line with semicolon. Okay. Once I do this and then once I execute it, then you will be able to see that it gets successfully executed and I am basically using this particular database now. Now, similarly, I'll make like this, and now let me do one thing. I will just say show tables, right? So if I want to see how many tables is basically present inside this particular database, since I'm using the database world, so I want to check now how many tables are there that is present inside this particular database. All I have to do is execute in this way. Again, there are two ways of executing this. Press Control Enter and you'll be able to see over here. Now this has also got executed fine. You can see three tables over here that is called as city, country and country language. Okay. So here you can see three tables. Now let's see some of the data inside the table. Again, this I have not yet started, but I am just going to show you by executing it to see what is the information that is present inside my table and the table name. So over here, one table you can see it is city. So I'm saying from city. Okay, select star from city. It's a very simple query, not at all very difficult. So here you can see some of the names, countryside, country code, district, population, everything, all the details are present over there. Let me execute this particular query again and see other tables. So let me go and execute from country language. Okay. See guys, I know many people know this, but I'm actually starting from basics. So you should definitely respect that. But later on, when I'll give you some kind of task, you'll not be executed. That time you'll know that And sometimes I also face that problem, not sometimes, many times I also face that problem. This requires a lot of practice. Okay, so here is what we have actually done. Now what I'm going to do, this was the basic things that we have done. Now let's create our own database, because we have already seen um, the basic of databases right now. Now let's go and create my own database, and then we'll do this particular statement like drop databases, create table, insert into table, and drop table. So let's go ahead, and here I'm actually going to use a create statement for creating the database itself. It's a very simple, it's not very difficult as a query statement. So I'm writing create database, my database name. Let's say that I want to create something called as customers, right? So customers is my database name. Okay, so this is my database name. So I'm just going to create this. So in order to execute it, here I'll press it control enter, or you can also press control shift enter. In case of control shift enter, the entire thing will get executed. So here you can see that it has been successfully created. Okay, so now if I probably go and execute this line again, so here you can see I have my customers database available. Okay, so you can definitely see your customer databases. Perfect. So you have successfully created the databases. In order to drop the databases, again, it is very much simple. You just write drop database customers, right? Customers. So again, you can use this and probably drop it. So I'm just going to press control enter. So this has got executed. Drop data says zeros rows affected. Why it says zero rows affected? Because still we don't have any tables over there. Now if I go and execute this one, so control enter, here you can see that all the database customers has got removed. Okay. So this is with respect to create and drop databases. So I'm again going to execute this. Okay, so let's create the database again. Now in the next step, what we do is that we create a table. Always understand that whenever we are creating something like a database, obviously if I want to feed some kind of data in a relational data set format, then obviously in the form of table, rows, columns and all, right? Then I have to create tables. That is the basic thing that we obviously know. Okay, so how to create a table? So here I'm going to just write a comment saying that create table in databases. Okay, so let's say that customers is my database name. Okay, and then I'm just going to create a table called as create table. Okay, see the queries. Okay, this is very much important. You may be considering, Krish, why you're not using capital letter? Because I can understand. Usually with respect to this entity names, whatever entity names like database name, table name, usually we use that as a small letters, and this all we use as a capital letter. But just I can definitely understand. If you are comfortable with it, you try to write it. So how do we write this? We use a syntax called as create table name. Okay, so table name here I'll be using. So I'm going to write customer underscore info. Okay, so this is my table name. Now once I create a table name, just imagine any kind of data set inside you. Suppose if you have a CSV file, inside a CSV file, what you'll have multiple rows, multiple columns, right? Then multiple columns will be your column name. So here I have to first of all specify column name, because inside that column name all the remaining thing will be data, right? So create customer underscore info, create table, which is my table name, and inside this what all data I can have, let's consider. Okay, so the first data that I would like to probably have is a unique ID. Let it be, I can say it as a unique ID, I can say it as a roll number, I can basically say anything. You can just give one unique ID, and this unique ID must keep on incrementing. Okay, must keep on incrementing for every customer, because this mostly says the unique value about that specific row. I can also consider this as a primary key. I will show you how you can define a primary key, how you can define a foreign key as we go ahead. But this is just a basic. So I told you I will basically be starting from scratch. So here it is, create customer info ID integer. So here integer is basically my data type. So this is what is the format we basically use. You can use float, you can use integer, you can use strings. For strings, you have something called as a data type called as varchar, and many more. So after this will be my first column. Just a second. So this will be my first column name, which is ID. The second column name I can basically write it as first name. Okay. Again, this will basically be a varchar. Varchar basically says that It will be a string format. It can have numbers, it can have a special character. And here I can also specify the size of this as 10. Okay. Then let's go to the next one. And here I will probably be using, I can use different features like last name, last underscore name. And then probably here I will basically be using varchar. Again, this will be 10. Okay. And then let's consider that right now for this particular table, we have three fields. One is ID, first name, and last name. Okay, very much simple. Now let's go ahead and execute this. Now in order to execute this, I can press Control Enter. You can see that whether my tables has been created or not. Okay, so let's see. Now if I go and see show tables, okay, let me use this and press Control Enter. Now here you, okay, sorry, I have not used a database. Create database customers. Oh, one mistake that I have actually done. Just tell me the mistake, guys. Just think over this particular mistakes. Once I created the database, right, I did not use this particular database called as customers. Okay, so I had to use this customer, then only this table will get created over there. So this is the problem that I basically did. So I am just going to execute again. First of all, I have already created a database, so I'm just going to comment this line because I don't require it. Let me use insert. Okay, I don't require it. So here is this line is commented because I've already created this database. Now we'll use the database. We'll create the table in the database and we'll execute this entire thing. Now what I'll do, I'll just select all and then I can just write, oops, just a second. Okay, I will just execute it and then I will execute this entire statement. So here you can see it has got executed. Here you can see the customer info name. Okay, perfect. So what we have done, we have successfully created a database. We have created a table. Inside that particular database, you have to use that particular database and create it, and then finally create the table of customer info, and then finally show the table. Right? This is done. Very much simple. Now, if I go and execute select star from table of customer underscore info, right? Select star from table name. So once I execute this, again, I'm going to use this one and press Control Enter. Here you'll be able to see that customer info. Perfect. It's okay. It's fine. We make some mistakes. So here you can see that I have ID, first name and last name. Obviously, I don't have any kind of values over here. Now let's go and quickly insert some values. In order to insert some values, all you have to basically do is that use another insert statement, which looks something like this. So I'm going to say insert into, oops, my mechanical keyboard, customer underscore info. Okay, so insert into customer info. This is my table name, and then I can use all my features name or all my column names, last underscore name, with the values. So here I will basically write values. Okay, and here I can now give the values as 1 comma first name is nothing but I'll give it in the form of string Krish, comma, and last name I will probably give my name 9. Okay, so here what I've done, I have understand the syntax. Syntax is a little bit important in MySQL or SQL Server since it is a query language. This is a technique to query something from a database. So you really need to be worried about the syntax. And again, I'm not saying you to continuously by heart it. If you're feeling any problem with respect to the queries, obviously go and Google it. But this will be important when you're attending the interviews. You should be very much feasible to write this kind of query. So here what I've done, insert into customer underscore info with respect to ID, first name, last name, and the values with the same thing. Like the first value will go to the ID, then Krish, and then Nayak, right? So once I execute it, so here you will be able to see it. Once I execute it, now if I go and execute the same thing again, so here you can see one Krish Nayak, right? Now, if I again try to execute one more query, okay, one more query. So here insert into this, and let's change the name to something else. I'll say Deepak Sharma. Okay. So let's execute this one also. And now let me just show what is the select star from customer info. So here you can see now I'm having the value Deepak Sharma. But you see one thing over here, guys, we have both the ID as same. How we can make it unique, how we can probably make it auto incremented and all, we'll discuss that in the next session. You don't have to worry about it. So finally, once you do it, what we have done, see, we have created a databases, we have dropped the databases, we have created a table, we have done insert into table, then select drop table. Last thing that we are going to do over here, let me just check any other points that I have probably missed over here. No, for this particular class, yes, that is properly fine. So final thing, if I want to drop the table, so I'll say for drop table of customer underscore info, right? It's very much simple. And then I will just execute it perfectly. It has got executed. You can see 0 rows affected. Now I'll say show tables, and obviously this should get executed, right? So here you can see no tables over here, right? But database is already there. I'm also going to drop the database, that is customer. Okay, let's drop everything so that finally we will be able to take, okay, drop database customers, right? So if I execute this, drop database done. Now if I go and execute show databases, now here you'll be able to see that I don't have that customer database over here, right? Perfect. So all these things we have actually done it successfully. Let me know whether you're liking this session or not. This every session will be going till 20 minutes, 30 minutes. In the next video, I will try to show you some update, delete statement. Then we'll go towards primary key, null key, not null constraint, SQL, how we can basically get a unique values. We'll try to see a lot of different things. Okay. So I hope you like this particular video. Please do make sure that you subscribe the channel. And yes, I'll see you all in the next video. Guys, one request, please share this playlist with everyone because you require SQL. That is important. And parallelly, you answer me whether should I start also MongoDB. There is a NoSQL database. And again, it's like alternate days, every one video. I like doing multiple tasking. Okay. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Thank you and all. Bye bye.